Hey everyone, welcome to my backyard, side yard, something like that. Um, I have a new project to introduce for all my classes actually. Who said that old dogs can't teach new tricks? So, anyway, we're going to be I'm going to keep the demos on the modules for the pinch project as they are, but I'm also going to add this one, which is for the new project. And this kind of um, opens up the idea of functionality. You know, what is function? Normally, think of function with pottery or ceramics as drinking and eating out of vessels, but they have other functions too. And the secret sauce will happen in the next second part of this assignment, which will be in the next module in terms of the theme of decorating these. But we're going to do this first module this week is make clay rattles, which I think will be kind of fun. So they'll be noisemakers. So let me show you how to do that. You'll be making these little pinched halves. You're making two pinched halves like coconut, half coconut shells, and then putting them together. But you want to keep them smaller than you will for, if you're in my vessel class, the pinch pots, and if you're in my sculpture class, the rocks. And you're going to be making these a little bit smaller. So I'm going to get about equal parts of clay. And these will be for the two halves. Now to make the rattles that go inside is they'll make little clay balls. I'd say maybe they don't have to be round too. They can be little odd size pieces, large and small. They can be round. There's no like, who knows, maybe if they're more regular, they make more sound. I'm not sure. But anyway, I would put out, let's see, about, I don't know, what do you think, 10? 10 would be a good rattle. You can make, I wonder if sand, sand might even be interesting too, but let's put some small ones too. Yeah, well, that'd be good for now. I didn't bring my, okay. What I want to do is later I'm going to wrap these up in a piece of tissue paper or little pieces of paper toweling around each one so it doesn't stick to the clay. And that will burn off in the firing. So I'll do that later. Let's go ahead and pinch these up first. So I have some clay to start with. I start with a round ball of clay. And again, this is like the other demos on pinching, but I'm going to do this in context of making this a little large, making these. So you want the rattle to be able to fit in your hand. That's why you use a smaller ball of clay than for. So I'm going to stick my thumb in just a little bit. And I'm going to make this in my hand, not on here. If I go here, it gets all flat. I'm going to be pinching this out into a bowl. But I want to keep my hand so this stays round, and so that, so it stays round, doesn't go splaying out. If you use a lot of thumb and it kind of goes out like that, like a pancake, you want it to go up. Now, because this is a rattle, and because we're going to decorate them, I'm going to leave it a little bit thicker. The way to make it go up is to use your hands on the outside, coming up like this. And I go from down to up, and I don't pinch too hard in any one spot. Okay, and I don't pinch on the rim hardly at all. That will kind of thin itself out as it goes. The reason why I'm going to leave it thicker a little bit is because we're going to decorate these, which will either add clay to it or take clay away or stamp it or whatever. And you just don't want to punch through it or have it be too weak to be able to handle the decorating. So I'll show you here about how thick I'm going. I go around just like I'm on a wheel. See, I'm just going in a circle, and I keep things pretty even. You're not seeing big fingerprints, right? From down up, I feel how thin it is. Okay. And I don't want to get this part too thin because that's where they're going to join together. Okay. So that's pretty good for one half. I can even tap it a little bit to make it a little bit flatter for a joint. So that's what it looks like. So I'm about anywhere from 1/4 to a 1/2 inch thick. In between there, 3/8. Don't have to measure. Stick my thumb in, come up, up, up. It's in my hand, keep it round. As you can see, this doesn't take a horribly long time. And I want to make sure, and right now it's a little bit small, so I'm going to make this a little bit wider. I got a piece of rock in here. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but get it close in the ballpark. That feels about the same thickness. That looks pretty good. Now, before I put these guys in, I'm gonna, this is called scoring and slipping. It's actually making a paste. So I put a little water on here, and I'll rough it up. Rough it up. I can go one direction, and I'll go another direction, and maybe even a third direction. So I'm making a paste. I'm really roughing it up. I'm not going, I'm really, making a paste. That's what you're doing. Score, this is scoring. Then I put water on top of this, and that's called slip, because the slip is the paste. Slip is liquid clay. And that's what I'm making with this liquid clay. So I could get the sponge on here and just put a little water on the top. Or I could dip it in the water, doesn't matter. Let that sit. And it's gonna make it, I got water inside, which I don't really want to get water inside, because that's gonna make the balls. So you wanna be careful about that. I would actually be more careful about that than I just was. And put a little water on it first, without getting it inside. So this doesn't look good. It's not polite. I'm really roughing it up. A little bit of water on that. Okay, I got some. So here's some paper toweling, anything, Kleenex will work, toilet paper will work. And these little balls of clay that I made from before, I'm gonna wrap them up in paper. And again, this paper will burn off, so I can actually be generous with the paper if I need to be, to cover these things up. You can make those ahead of time and let them dry out even, and that will give you, still good to have them in paper. It doesn't really matter how dry these get first. If they're drier, they won't stick as much, right? But this paper will keep them from sticking as well. Oh, I'll make two out of that one, that kind of big. Okay, I'm just going to do a few of these, so I don't want to take up all your time. I would do all of these. I have 5, which is fine for now. Make sure it's dry inside. Okay, these are pretty squishy now. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these guys in. Make sure you put them in before you close it up. And then I'll put these two guys together. And just sort of, a little bit like a snowball, just really gently tap them together. And then you can use your finger, or you can use one of your ribs. Either rib works well. This is a wood rib, this is a metal rib. This one's kind of nice because you can go to it can bend to the shape of your ball. And I can put together. This one actually makes it sort of like bigger, and it kind of, puts a texture on there, which you may or may not like, but it, really, it spreads it out like butter, And then this one can actually be a little bit more refined, so you can get rid of that pattern if you want, so that you can just decorate it fresh next time. Again, we'll be decorating these according to a pretty cool theme. So now I have a ball with little beads inside to make a rattle. And the last thing you want to do before you cover this up, and I'll talk about covering up, is put a hole somewhere. Doesn't matter where. All you need is one that goes all the way through so that air can get out. Clay shrinks, air does not. So you want to have a little hole that air can get out. It doesn't take much. Just a pinhole like that. Okay. Now, before I'm done, or when I'm done, what I want to do is wrap this up in plastic, like 2 or 3 layers. So get it really well wrapped up in plastic. I have too big a plastic here, but like that. and just put it in on the shelf or whatever for next time. And then we will, that way if it dries out, you can't decorate it. But if you keep it this way, it won't dry out, and the clay will still be fresh. You'll be able to do all kinds of things to it. Okay, that's how I want 2 of those.